This is a description of a new paradigm of constructive collaborative relationship. It has not been affected in our world in any comprehensive way in the future. And we feel that it is necessary. It's at least a potentially excellent option for people to learn to consciously collaborate. In order for them to consciously collaborate, they must find some way to disentangle themselves from their prior modalities of ego process, tribal process, safety and control process, taproot process, and unconscious, conditioned, and karmically influenced dynamics in order to be able to say, I choose to consciously collaborate. And not only do I make that choice, I'm actually going to do it in every moment of my life, in every situation, in every interaction with every other human being, in every relationship, in every organization I participate in. Conscious collaboration, and we're going to say it very broadly here. Please hear this, and please recognize it's said with love. Conscious collaboration is the antidote to climate change. Now that was 7 or 8 words. Everyone has wanted succinct, clear messaging in order to feel confident and capable of walking the talk and also messaging this out to the world. If those 7 or 8 words are not simple enough, are not clear enough, are not empowering enough, we'll do better. That said, they're now in your hands. They are provable. Conscious collaboration is the antidote to climate change. Unconscious coordinated activities, group tribal feeding dynamics, predatory economic and social dynamics, or nationalistic or populistic dynamics are not conscious collaboration, and they are not the solution to climate change. I hope that we're trying to be very clear and very supportive, very honoring of the history of humanity up until this moment, and every listener's history up until this moment, and simultaneously to say in one sentence, this is your answer. This is a way to solve it all. This conscious collaboration will generate every necessary change in society. Conscious collaboration will generate every necessary technological innovation. Conscious collaboration will bring peace on earth. Conscious collaboration will reduce competition and enhance collective, aligned, mobilized, united effort. In order for conscious collaboration to become the new paradigm for humanity, the new paradigm for all organizations, the new paradigm for all nations, the new paradigm for all international collaborative effort, there must be a choice made. That choice is to place the goal, the superordinate or higher priority goal of conscious collaboration as being more important, more necessary, more absolutely important than fear, safety, control, having or getting or feeding or obtaining or accumulating any result, specific result or reaction in the environment or society, or any response from other people to our choices, higher than any emotionally preferred result, higher than requiring anybody to say they're sorry, or to require some process of forgiveness for us to collaborate. So that means existing wounded cultures, wounded genders, wounded races, wounded age groups, wounded populations, wounded Political parties recognizing that if they simply choose to put conscious collaboration as a higher priority, as the survival strategy for our species, if they choose to put survival of the species above all of these other dynamics, including profit seeking, then we can work it out. Everything becomes negotiable. Everything becomes solvable. Everything becomes co-creatively realizable. In this process of conscious collaboration, there is no requirement of others to jump through hoops of our subconscious expectations. We don't have to test them over and over and over again. We don't have to make them be a certain way. Nobody's got to be coerced. Nobody's got to be forced. No one's got to be controlled. Nobody's got to be better than anybody. Nobody's got to be less than anybody. The current process of these subconscious parts we were speaking of in terms of the lower chakras in the legs, feet, root chakra, hip chakras, those parts will try to say, no, the only way I can work with people is if they do this. They operate this way, they say this, they speak my language, they put messaging in terms that I prefer, that I resonate, that give me an emotional zing, that make me feel good, that I'm familiar with, that meet my egoic desires, wants, and needs. That's the only way I'm going to collaborate, is if the people that are asking me to collaborate first jump through all those hoops while the world burns. The ego cannot tell time. The ego wants things to be a certain way before it's willing to acquiesce and collaborate. Conscious collaboration is not hampered or held back by such unconscious, subconscious requirements or definitions or goals or priorities or values or feeding dynamics or safety or control strategies. We had a typo here, sorry. This conscious collaboration paradigm is a no stress process and a non-egoic process and path. It is a complete shift in approach to relationships of all kinds, out of traditional tribal dynamics and into co-creative potential and possibility. It is based upon what might be termed an agreed upon and committed to superordinate goal. In this case, the goal is conscious collaboration that all parties agree to and focus on as the single result that is necessarily attained. If we agree upon that one agreement as a collective, everything else is just working out the details to get there most effectively and efficiently in a way that serves all human beings equally and honors all cultures, all races, all genders, all religions. So if all choices are made from this single pointed focus on conscious collaboration as the only thing we really, really need to do, if there are questions about how to get there and what that looks like, they can all be talked through and worked out. Conscious collaboration can become a standardized science, a standardized educable model, a standardized social process that serves all of humanity, a philosophy for all of humanity that honors everyone, every belief system, every value, every culture, and does so within the container of, and we all need to be alive. We all need medical care. We all need food and water. We need space to live. And we all deserve happiness and love. So from that point, all is negotiated based upon this point of commitment Agreed upon realities become realizable. We no longer have the Tower of Babel dynamic of everyone speaking a different language, working at odds with each other, like a team of horses hitched up, all pulling in different directions, and so the wagon doesn't go anywhere. And this conscious collaboration paradigm is a trust building model because it is ever working towards common ideas, common goals, common values, common practices, common protocols, common process, common solutions generation that serves the common good and the planet. If we look at all of life as just a dance, in the past, we've all learned the tribal dance of competition, capitalism, taproot feeding, fear-based decision-making, dysfunctional social process, ego dynamics, tribal dynamics of all kinds. That doesn't mean that you're rich and powerful. It doesn't mean that you own half of Texas. It doesn't mean that you're in control of vast resources. It does mean you're alive, you have food and water, you're not dead, you haven't been ostracized by the tribe, you've not been abandoned, you've not been jailed and taken away forever, and you've not been controlled or destroyed or obliterated by any oppressive regime. And so to the degree that you have, you're a success. You're a great dancer. So congratulations. That said, it's just a dance that you've learned, and it's a dance that you've become, to a significant degree, unconsciously participative in, along with the rest of the tribe of humanity. And you can learn a different dance. You can learn the dance of conscious collaboration, where you don't step on each other's toes, where you don't hit each other in the face with your elbow, where you don't competitively, while you're doing a lift for your dance partner, throw them off a cliff and take all their resources. We're bringing levity into this. We hope it's okay. This dance of conscious collaboration does mean learning a different way of life. And learning anything is optimally facilitated by people who are interested in facilitating your new understanding and helping you practice and model it and implement it and refine it. If you look at the process of conscious collaboration as two dance partners that have never danced before, they've never learned to dance, and they're brought together with a choreographer, and the choreographer is helping them learn to move gracefully through the different movements of the dance together. Can we basically say the likelihood of two people who've never danced before and who are learning a complex new dance, it might be challenging. They might step on each other's toes out of simple habit. They might project that they're not going to, if they dive into the air, to be caught by the other person, because that's what's in the choreographed dance, that the other person might drop them. Therefore, they fear doing so. So they either won't dive into the other's arms, or they dive into the other's arms in such a way as expecting to be dropped to the ground and bruised, and going into judgments and punishment dynamics and hatred and victim perpetrator rescuer dynamics, or they might try to control the other dancer and say, no, you're dancing wrong. You shouldn't be dancing this way. You should be dancing the way I'm telling you to dance. These are egoic dynamics that are safety and control and fear driven and unconscious and projective, and are thus not hallmarks of optimal conscious collaboration. So there's a trust factor and a faith factor that's key and core to conscious collaboration. There is a standardization of process, meaning that you're talking apples to apples and oranges to oranges with the other person. There's a metaphor that we would use of evolving conscious collaboration. So if you can imagine yourself living in a house with another person, and you had a room where you lived, and they had a room where they lived, and you had a room that you shared, and that room had no lights. So you couldn't see where any of the furniture was. You couldn't see where the television was. You couldn't see where any objects were in the room. And there were no lights, so you couldn't turn on the lights. Does it make sense that you would be required, if you wanted to traverse this room, you would be required to feel around and map where every piece of furniture and every object in that room was, so that you didn't trip, bump your shins, fall down, or damage the contents of that room. So if you and whoever this other person that you share that room with must understand moment by moment where every object in that room is located. If you move a sofa, or if you move a lamp, or a lamp that doesn't work because there's no lights in this room, or if you move the television, if you move any object in the room, you must tell the other person exactly what you did, exactly why you did it, and exactly where that object is in the room. And if you put something new in the room, that you have placed something new in the room, or if you've subtracted something from the room, that you've subtracted it. So this is an absolute, definitive, and precise, documented accounting of what happens in that room that is absolutely consistently communicated to the partner that traverses or utilizes that room with you. This is a metaphor. Human beings are quite unconscious in a lot of ways. So this room is this shared unconscious space where people tribally tend to walk into in the dark, stumble around, bump their shins, hate each other, blame each other, try to control each other into their pain never having been created in the first place, while not being self-accountable for where they move the furniture or how they affect the room, or staying on the same page constantly with the other people who occupy this room. Do you see just how absolutely necessary, if you were going to train somebody to consciously collaborate, you'd put them in such a room perhaps and require them to communicate in real time, consciously, on every single detail, so that you could work together. And if you needed to work together in that room, because it took two people to move a sofa in the dark, you could do it because you both know where the sofa is because you talked about it already. Are we making sense with this metaphor as a metaphor, a fractal metaphor for global, well-organized, functional, sustained life process that can be transformed and can work because we're working together, even if we don't see each other's vantage points initially, even if we have different beliefs, even if we operate from different assumptions or projections or values or cultural predispositions or historical, traditional, competitive intentions or dynamics. In this metaphor, all of that becomes subservient to how do we operate in this room collaboratively together in a functional way without getting hurt, without hurting anybody else, and in a way that gets the job done. The metaphor of both the dance partners that are both learning to dance ever better as a dynamic of evolving conscious collaboration, so that you end up with an elegant, well-orchestrated, beautiful dance that everybody can really appreciate. Everyone can recognize the grace and beauty and efficacy and necessity of, simultaneous to this metaphor of a shared room, which is in the dark because our tendencies, the inertia of our cultural tendencies, our subconscious beliefs, values, dynamics, recordings, simulacra, this dynamic of imagined projection of, oh no, everybody's this way, or white people are this way, or black people are this way, or Asian people are this way, or Russians are this way, or Indian people are this way, or Chinese people are this way. Those projected dynamics are obscurations. They're blind spots that create this dark room that then creates dynamics of us tripping over each other and the furniture and everything that we create in the world together, without truly understanding each other's motivations, intentions, goals, process, values, worth, equality, essential goodness, that we are all God's children. We are all expressions of spirit, of equal value and worth, and that we are all co-creative contributors and benefactors of this dynamic, this potential dynamic of conscious collaboration together. If we're focused on the past, we're not suggesting being Pollyannas. We're not suggesting looking at life with rose-colored glasses. We're not saying forget history as it has been in the past. We're suggesting we must build conscious collaboration together. And through that recognized interdependence, people become far more trustworthy because it's obviously in their common benefit for them to operate in trustworthy, non-corrupt, non-destructive, non-terroristy, non-warlike dynamics at all levels of all societies. If we can just recognize that and feed that process constantly, invest money, time, resources, expertise, human power and effort and co-creative capacity and intentionality in doing that, rather than building the military-industrial complex, or rather than building bombs, rather than building weapons of mass destruction, or rather than building ways to compete, or rather than building short-term adaptive technologies that'll make a lot of profit and then turn into the plastic bottle solution that then pollutes the whole world. If we're willing to focus what we invest in, everything in, money, time, energy, love, caring, intention, soul, dharmic process, if we define a whole new investment strategy for all of humanity, and we invest in conscious collaboration, and we make that our first investment, or only second to remaining alive, if we can invest, if we can set up a new form of investment, not in just a circular economy, not just in a sustainable economy, in conscious collaboration that then generates a circular, sustainable economy, then we can build a new world together.